Of our uniqueness and its uniqueness, we collectively create an arrow out of history, out of time, perhaps even out of matter, that will redeem then the idea that man is good. Redeem the idea that man is good. This is the promise of art, and its fulfillment is never more near than the present moment. Is it that we are to transcend this world and go into some titanic dimension of energy or spirit that we can scarcely imagine? Is that what this birth is? Is the only way we can grant peace to this planet is to turn ourselves into electrons moving in an ytterbium cube that we bury on the dark side of the moon? Is it something like that? I'm troubled by that because I would like to keep it all together. I would like to see us as a part of nature, but I'm not so uninformed concerning the historical adventure that I don't know that what is called Gnosticism is a very strong strain in the human animal, and especially in Western thought. And Gnosticism in its most severe form can be boiled down to the proposition that we are strangers here. We don't belong here. This is not our world. We come from a place made of light, and we will never rest until we return to it. And this is a great tension between ourselves and the earth, between our destiny as an energy-using, dream-concressing, spacefaring, stormtrooper kind of species. I mean, that's all male dominance and male mentality talking, and the need to somehow fold that into a nurturing stance, a preserving stance, a stance that recognizes that the conservation of our archaic values is really our only hope. And those two things exist in a dynamic tension. This is maybe the issue that the artistic community can clarify, and that must be clarified before we can make a definitive step into the future. Right now, we're uncertain. Stewardship or angelhood, which shall it be?
Man has never yet produced a structure that will be capable of eternal continuance. Man has never produced within himself a degree of intelligence which is not in need of continuous reform. Man has never known so much that he dared to pause for an instant in his search for greater knowledge. A man has not yet so integrated his own nature that he can survive beyond the normal expectancies of physical life. And out of this comes the still further historical but trans-historical circumstance and fact that man must sometime break the pattern of history and perhaps sink back into the quiet contemplation of nature as the only answer to the complexity of the life which he has developed. So man becomes in this strange, mysterious way unhistorical in the midst of history. He becomes unhistorical because he is free from every false pressure which history, tradition, condition can cause upon his own nature. Yet he is in no way open to license. His freedom is a quiet kind of acceptance of nature. He is free because he obeys, not because he disobeys. And the proof of his freedom is his own peace, and not the wild gestures of liberty which he is so inclined to make. He is at peace with the law because he is beyond that degree of consciousness in which he will break law. And laws are only terrible to those who break them. So this person has an immediate living experience of the living world around him. He has in some mysterious way broken through the sequence patterns of time which exist in order that he may grow up step by step to self-intelligence. And he has suddenly attained this insight. He is intelligent. He is intelligence. He has made himself one through his own consciousness with this unhistorical universe, which is, so to say, the highest form of historical report. Now here we have two factors involved. We have nature, which in itself is not historical, because nature of itself is an eternal process, eternally progressing through space. Man, however, at only one stage of his growth, can reach up to the point where he can experience the unhistorical eternity of nature. When he achieves that, he has Zen. When he has that, he has a certain internal illumination. At that moment, he transcends history. But this power of the unhistorical in man is the result of history. It is a result of gradually building up through a whole cycle of experiences the understanding that transcends experience itself. So I think we can say definitely that history is the story of man unfolding through nature to conscious identification with the essential essence of nature.
What I'm proposing is more, there's no man in it. It's the concrescence of the collective soul of humanity, that somehow I see history as an alchemical task and process, and the artist as artificer. It is the task of the artist to complete this alchemical concrescence. And it's a kind of irrational thing. It is irrational. It's that mind and matter are approaching each other on a trajectory that will bring them together with no damage to the quintessential nature of each. And we can't imagine that, because for us things are mind or matter. We can't conceive of a coincidentia oppositorum. And yet it's that which we must hold in our mind if we want to see truth. Something wants to be born. The promptings of our religions, with all the irrational and hysterical trappings that attend them, nevertheless have a core perception that there is between man and nature a kind of compact. And this compact it will be redeemed. I mean, I really think that this is the psychedelic faith, that we are the prodigal species. We have descended into the inferno of matter to try and recover the pearl of immortality. The pearl of immortality is the perfected and reconstructed earth. And somehow we are to be the critical factor in this equation, or the point species. We are not acting for ourselves. We are the energy manipulating species that I believe carries the hopes of all life. All nature is watching this drama. The life of our star is finite. The life of the planet is finite. But potentially self-reflecting understanding may be, in fact, immortal, and yet it is breaking out of the trappings of matter. And this is a process so large, so strange, that I don't think a single mind can encompass it within a single moment. It's something that we triangulate over and over again. And for me, the psychedelic experience is how you do that. The psychedelic experience is literally a rising into a higher dimension in the geometric sense. And from that higher dimension, the psychedelic voyager carries out a transecting of the lower dimensional object, which is the world.